Good afternoon and welcome to the May meeting of the Board of Regents. I'd like to call our meeting to order with a roll call. Regent Acker. Regent Beam. Here. Regent Bernstein. Here. Regent Brown. Here. Regent Hubbard. Here. Regent Illich.
Present.
Regent Myers.
Here.
Regent White.
Here.
Okay. I want to begin by thanking Chancellor Gabriela Scarlata and the U of M Dearborn community for hosting us today. It's always a pleasure to return to the Dearborn campus. It's an even greater pleasure to recommend to the board that the word interim be removed from Chancellor Scarlata's title and that she be named the 7th Chancellor of U of M Dearborn. The applause is going to come later, but we can do it again later. I've worked with Gabriela since 2018 when I became Chancellor, and there's no one more committed to U of M Dearborn and the success of its students, faculty, and staff. She has devoted 30 years to this university, and I'm confident she will further elevate its impact as a campus of opportunity that delivers a world-class, accessible education. I've said it many times, go blue and go Dearborn. Now, please join me in congratulating Chancellor Scarlata. Today's meeting includes a proposal to purchase 140 acres of property currently owned by Concordia University. This is a unique and unexpected opportunity presented to our university by Concordia officials. Specifically, they asked us to consider buying the property and to continue an educational mission at a location that has served students for more than 60 years. Over the long history of our institution, the University of Michigan has been able to acquire significant parcels of land, including the property that is now North Campus. We do this to fulfill our mission and envision the future for the university and for society. Our plans for the Concordia site are still to be determined. We do know that there will be a strong emphasis on potential community use. We also intend to preserve signature beautiful physical and natural facilities, such as historic Earhart Manor and the campus chapel. We are confident that this development will amplify the university's many contributions to Ann Arbor and Washtenaw County. This current support includes providing $32 million to the city towards capital improvements, public safety, and transportation upgrades. More notably, U of M supports the local economy by spending $332 million in goods and services. As we conceive plans for the Concordia parcel, we will continue to work closely with the city and community representatives to establish optimal uses that will deepen Michigan's commitment to the public good. I'd now like to invite Chancellor Scarlata to introduce this month's presentation.
Chancellor Garso. Thank you, everybody. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce our Professor Carmel Price, Associate Professor for right now, being recommended for promotion to full professor. Carmel Price in the Department of Behavioral Sciences in the College of Arts, Sciences, and Letters. Professor Price is an outstanding teacher who has been essential to maintaining the curriculum for the sociology discipline while expertly contributing to the academic success of undergraduate students through her extensive mentoring activities. Her research areas are environmental health and justice, education, and social mobility. All of her efforts in the classroom, in the field, and service as well reflect an unwavering commitment to academic excellence, inclusion, civic engagement, interdisciplinary collaboration. And we have full confidence that she will continue in this pathways of great impact, both in the classroom and in the research field. So without further ado, I will introduce Dr. Price, who has a fantastic presentation for us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to present my work. Today I'm going to share with you a snapshot of the community work I've been doing in Dearborn South End for over a decade. First, let's understand the community context. Salina Elementary and Salina Intermediate, 6.2 miles from here, are co-located next to industry, as you can see in this aerial view of the schools. For example, notice the school's close proximity to the steel mill and the heavily used railroads. This results in a community with high levels of sulfur dioxide, particulate matter 2.5, and ozone. This community also experiences significant flooding. As heavy rain increases with climate change, and industrial areas have an abundance of impermeable surfaces. It is also important to note that this community is predominantly Arab, specifically Yemeni, with higher rates of poverty, lower levels of English literacy, and higher numbers of children and youth when compared to other communities in Dearborn and Michigan. Every dot on this map represents a major source of pollution. Salina schools are marked by the red arrow. In Michigan, we do not have cumulative impact legislation, so each pollution source is regulated in isolation and might be in compliance with environmental regulations. But cumulatively, the impact of so many polluting facilities located next to neighborhoods and schools is devastating. For example, asthma rates in populations under the age of 18 is 8.4% in the US, 9% in the state of Michigan, and 15.9% in the greater Detroit area. So alongside of many community partners, Professor Natalie Sampson and I co-created a program called Environmental Health Research to Action, or ERA. We started the ERA Academy in 2018. It's a high school youth summer program focused on air pollution, water quality, energy justice, policy advocacy, community-led science, data and mapping, community, and storytelling. Our work is rooted in principles of community-based participatory research, environmental justice, and plain language. We have over 125 alum who've participated in the ERA Academy. Many participants are from Salina neighborhood, but also Dearborn at Large, Detroit, Melvindale, Hamtramck, and River Rouge. Participants identify as 56% Middle Eastern or North African, 36% Black or African American, 11% Asian, 5% white, and 10% Hispanic or Latinx. And 22% are born outside of the United States. Of course, we've measured impact. We've seen a significant increase in environmental knowledge among participants and a significant increase in environmental advocacy and behaviors. We've also seen an increase in environmental awareness and advocacy in the community among family members. One of my favorite stories is when a youth borrowed a handheld air monitor. He took it home for the weekend to play with and measure the local air quality in his neighborhood. When he brought the monitor back on Monday, I asked him how his experience was. He said he didn't really get a chance to use it, that his dad stole it from him and used it the entire time and had lots of questions. Of course, we let him take the monitor home again, but this was a win. We want youth from fence-line communities having these conversations at home and educating their family members. It is also interesting to note that we have had multiple siblings and cousins participate in this program. We've also worked to translate our research into a curriculum that promotes integrated learning. We've worked directly with Salina Intermediate teachers and many others to adapt our ERA Academy to middle school students. We've mapped the curriculum to science and social studies standards, and we've published lesson plans for middle school teachers. We piloted the program in Dearborn Public Schools. Here's a picture of student projects about stormwater runoff and a challenge letter that we wrote to Salina Intermediate students, challenging them to learn about the air quality in their community and to advocate for a cleaner environment. They worked with their math teachers to measure air quality using our handheld air monitors, and their ELA teachers to write letters and reports. Through the Safe Routes to School program, we brought funding into the community to support biking and walking. We installed bike racks and a bike repair station. The picture with the sunflower mural is the Salina Community Garden, which was installed with support from Dearborn's Environmental Interpretive Center. We also initiated programming to support a culture of walking and biking to and from school. We've been part of the Green Schools Coalition since its inception 5 years ago. The coalition is building natural playgrounds, rain gardens, prairies, which help to mitigate air pollution and flooding, and offer opportunities for learning through outdoor education. Here we are at the grand opening of the Salina Kindergarten Playground in June 2025. This summer, we have a Dearborn summer undergraduate research student, Macy Burton, working on a sound study, soil sampling, community surveys, and more. One of the goals is to support an ecological sound wall, which is the vision of the Green Schools Coalition and will be the first of its kind in the entire state of Michigan. Of course, we have a plethora of publications describing all of this work. We've co-authored with many community partners and research students, including Dearborn and Ann Arbor undergraduate students and one high school student. This work is not possible without our funders. We were launched many years ago with seed funding from the Community Foundation of Southeast Michigan, and we've been sustained by the National Institutes of Environmental Health Sciences, along with many internal funding sources, such as the MLEAD Center in Ann Arbor, the CAFE Project in the School of Public Health in Ann Arbor, and the SURE program at Dearborn. Of course, you can't give a Dearborn presentation without Bruce the Goose. Thank you so much. I'm happy to answer questions or follow up with folks after the meeting.
Thank you very much, Dr. Price. Provost McCauley will begin comments on candidates recommended for promotion and tenure, highlighting a few candidates on today's agenda. Provost McCauley.
Thank you, President Grasso. Is this on? Thank you, President Grasso. The University of Michigan's essential work of challenging the present and enriching the future is only possible through the efforts of our faculty who create, preserve, and pass on knowledge to the next generation of citizens and leaders. Today, we are bringing forward 306 recommendations for promotion on the Ann Arbor campus. This includes 162 instructional track promotions for board review and approval. In addition, there are 127 recommendations for promotion for clinical faculty and 17 for research faculty. Each of these has been carefully reviewed at the department, school, provost, and presidential level. I present them to the board with great pride in the accomplishments of the faculty being recommended for promotion. And I'm pleased to highlight 3 of these faculty members. Samantha Kepler is recommended for promotion to Associate Professor of Technology and Operations with tenure in the Ross School of Business. Aligned with the university's theme year of life-changing education, Professor Kepler, a former 9th grade math teacher in the Bronx, has brought sophisticated research methods to improve operations in K-12 schools. Her original scholarship has demonstrated how microgrants to teacher-identified projects led to improved student outcomes, particularly in lower-income schools. Her research has been covered by the Wall Street Journal, NPR, and the Financial Times. More recently, she's tested how AI can be used safely and effectively by K-12 teachers. An award-winning educator and mentor, Poets and Quants named her as one of the 40 under 40 MBA professors in 2025. The next is John Estrada, who is recommended for promotion to Associate Professor of Mechanical Engineering with tenure in the College of Engineering. Professor Estrada's laboratory has made important contributions to advance understanding of soft materials mechanics, nonlinear mechanics theory, and computational methods. His research has been supported by diverse funding sources, including the National Institutes of Health, the Department of Defense, and an NSF Career Award. Estrada is an exceptional educator in the classroom and mentor in the laboratory, with students providing uniformly laudatory praise. One former student cited his supernatural abilities to empathize and adjust course activities to position students for success. The third is Louis Zaman, who's recommended for promotion to Associate Professor of Complex Systems with tenure and Associate Professor of Ecology and Evolutionary Biology with tenure in the College of Literature, Science, and the Arts. With significant external funding awards, Professor Zaman has made notable contributions to one of our grand challenges, understanding the mechanisms that drive biodiversity. Combining computer models with bacterial studies, he's explored the drivers of evolution from the scale of molecules to communities, from digital code to ecological networks. His teaching is exceptional across 5 courses, and he is a committed, highly engaged mentor. A former LSA Collegiate Fellow, he has engaged in impactful service in his 2 departments and beyond, including his role on the university's COVID-19 Faculty Council and the Native American Student Association Faculty Executive Board. He's also recognized for developing the widely used infectiousmatter.com pandemic simulation, visited more than 400,000 times to educate and engage our broader public. Taken together, these highlights offer brief but powerful glimpses of the talent, creativity, and commitment our faculty bring to the university's mission every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Provost McCauley. Now I'd like to turn to EVP Dr. Miller.
Thank you, President Grasso. Today, I'm pleased to recognize 2 outstanding faculty members whose work exemplifies the excellence, innovation, and impact that define the University of Michigan. First, I would like to recognize Dr. Jaiha Lee on his promotion to Associate Professor in the Department of Biomedical Engineering. Dr. Lee is an internationally emerging leader in synthetic biology-enabled microbial therapeutics and is advancing groundbreaking research at the intersection of engineering, microbiology, biology, and medicine. His work focuses on engineered probiotics for metabolic and infectious diseases, microbial-based cancer therapies, and microbial delivery of genome engineering tools, areas with enormous potential to transform how we prevent and treat disease. Since joining Michigan, Dr. Lee has established an extraordinary record of research achievement, including publications in Nature Biotechnology, Nature Microbiology, and Nature Communications, as well as major support from the National Institutes of Health, Department of Defense, NSF, and USDA. His many honors include the NIH Director's New Innovator Award and NSF Career Award. These rewards both reflect the innovation and impact of his work. I also want to recognize Dr. Gifty Kwachi on her promotion to clinical professor in the Department of Surgery. Dr. Kwachi is an internationally recognized leader in surgical education, assessment innovation, and global colorectal surgery capacity building. As Assistant Dean for Clinical Medical Education, she has led transformative efforts across our clinical learning environment, including the institution-wide transition to criterion reference grading and major assessment reforms that have impacted thousands of learners and educators. Her leadership extends far beyond our campus. In partnership with the government of Ghana, she founded and directs the first colorectal surgery fellowship program in West Africa, and also co-directs a colorectal surgery fellowship program in Rwanda in collaboration with the Ministry of Health. Dr. Kwachi is deeply respected as an educator, mentor, and innovator, and this is reflected in numerous teaching awards and national leadership roles. Her work embodies our commitment to excellence in education, global engagement, and improving patient care worldwide. Together, Drs. Lee and Kwachi represent the remarkable talent, leadership, and commitment to discovery and education that continue to strengthen the University of Michigan and our mission every day. Their achievements reflect not only individual excellence, but also the collaborative spirit of innovation that make the University of Michigan such a special place. Please join me in congratulating them on these well-deserved promotions. And as always, go blue. Thank you.
I would now like to turn it over to Chancellor Scarlata.
Okay, thank you, President Grasso. I would like to, George Ayub. There we go. Thank you so much. So I'd like to talk about our fantastic faculty member, George Ayub, who's an associate professor of industrial and manufacturing systems engineering with tenure in the Department of Industrial and Manufacturing System Engineering, being promoted, recommended for promotion to Professor of Industrial and Manufacturing Systems Engineering with tenure in the Department of Industrial and Manufacturing System Engineering in the College of Engineering and Computer Science. Professor Ayub was rated excellent in teaching, research, and service. I'm going to focus a little bit on his research. Since his promotion in 2022, Professor Ayub has secured 8 funded research grants and contracts totaling more than $6.1 million, with a personal share exceeding $1.7 million. Professor Ayub has served as the principal investigator on most of this project and has played a key role in several large-scale collaborative efforts. He has established himself as a leader in manufacturing and materials engineering research. His pioneering work integrates experimental mechanics, computational modeling, and digital twin technology, positioning him at the forefront of Industry 5.0. The second faculty member I'd like to feature is Dr. Suvranta Tripathi. Dr. Tripathi is an assistant professor of physics in the Department of Natural Sciences in the College of Arts, Sciences, and Letters, and is recommended for promotion to associate professor of physics with tenure in the College of Arts, Sciences, and Letters. Professor Tripathi started with us in 2020. He has demonstrated an outstanding dedication to teaching, curriculum development, and student mentorship across both introductory and advanced physics courses. In research, he has quickly established himself as a distinguished leader in research on biophysics and cellular transport. His externally funded program explores the mechanics by which motor proteins coordinate cargo movement within cells and demonstrates how disruptions in these processes can contribute to diseases, such as neurodegenerative disorders and viral infections. He has secured more than $750,000 in research support, including the American Heart Association Institutional Research Enhanced Award and highly competitive grants by the National Health Institute Support of Research Excellence. These are the 2 faculty members that we are asking to be promoted.
Thank you, Chancellor Scarlata. Now I'd like to turn it over to Chancellor Alexander.
Thank you. Thank you, President Grasso. I'm pleased to present 2 of our outstanding faculty at U of M Flint who are recommended for full professor with tenure. First is Dr. Nicholas Kingsley, a tenured associate professor of chemistry. As a teacher, Dr. Kingsley creates learning environments through an active, inquiry-driven process to cultivate confidence and critical thinking in his courses, which also incorporates problem-based learning, group discussions, and inquiry-based experiments. He was instrumental in leading the incorporation of green chemistry practices into the curriculum, which ultimately led to the department creating a green chemistry degree program, the first such program in the country. Dr. Kinsley's research program integrates inorganic synthesis, specifically developing new ligands for coordination to group 13 metals with sustainable green chemistry practices in education. His inorganic synthesis work is important as it not only provides potentially greener aluminum catalysts to replace the more costly and toxic catalysts currently being used for hydroamination, but it also contributes to the general knowledge base towards synthesizing similar compounds. His green chemistry work includes traditional scholarly contributions as well as service to the broader community through his ongoing involvement and commitment to green chemistry development and education. The second outstanding faculty member that I'd like to highlight is Dr. Douglas Zitko, a tenured associate professor in computer science who's recommended for professor of computer science. He's an accomplished teacher who's expanded traditional courses to serve as gateways into undergraduate research activity, providing additional avenues for out-of-class engagements that are very impactful for retention purposes. His project-based approach to learning guides students individually with insightful, confidence-building feedback. He has developed an internationally recognized research program for his work in human-computer interaction, especially in the area of consent in computer-mediated messages. His work is focused on two aspects of this communication. The first on dating and other social matching apps that aim to understand how people engage with these systems and how people strategically use them to achieve their goals. The second is related to safety issues in online dating, particularly for women and LGBTQ plus users who may be vulnerable to abuse or harassment. He consistently applies a critical lens to new and emerging technologies, allowing him to remain at the cutting edge of these changing environments. He has been very successful in securing extramural funding as the PI of a prestigious NSF Career Award and co-PI of several other grants, including an NSF Research Experience for Undergraduates Award. President Grasso, that concludes my review of the two faculty, and I appreciate the opportunity to present highlights of our outstanding faculty from the Flint campus.
Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Chancellor Alexander. I'd like to give a round of applause, not just for the ones that were highlighted here, who are truly outstanding, but for our entire faculty, who is distinguished. The Regents Committee reports will begin with Finance, Audit and Investment Committee, Regent White.
Thank you, President Grasso. The Finance, Audit and Investment Committee met this morning, including Regents Bernstein, Hubbard, Myers, and White. We met with our interim Executive Vice President and CFO, Bobby Hewlett, and interim VP, Drew Smith, for a financial update and forecast and a briefing on banking initiatives. The committee also met with our new Director of University Audits, John Powers, for a discussion on audit plans.
Thank you. Health Affairs Committee, Regent Beam.
Thanks, President Grasso. The committee, including Regent Brown, myself, met with EVPMA Miller, Michigan Medicine CFO Eric Strucco, and other U of M health leaders for a financial update and updates on clinical matters. Informational reports and updates were also received.
Thank you. Personnel, Compensation, and Governance Committee, Regent Illich.
Thank you. The committee, including Regent White, met with Provost McCauley and CFO Hewlett and Director of University Audits, John Powers, he was busy this morning, for a discussion on contract best practices. The committee also discussed priorities for the next year.
Thank you. Before we move on to the consent agenda, I will call for a vote on conflicts of interest, each of which requires 6 votes for approval. Does anyone need recusal from voting on a particular item? Is there a motion to approve? So moved. Support. Okay. This covers items 9 through 30. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Now we turn to the consent agenda, beginning with a report from Chancellor Scarlata.
Thank you, President Grasso. And first of all, I want to thank you for recommending me as the next Chancellor of the University of Michigan, Dearborn. I'm grateful for your confidence in me and for all the mentorship and strong advice that you have been giving me throughout the years we worked together as Provost and this past year as Interim Chancellor. Thank you. Grazie. This appointment would truly be the honor of a lifetime. It's something I never anticipated when I joined the university as an adjunct faculty member in 1996. But as we all tell our students, you never know where your path may lead. I appreciate the support I've received from everyone here at this table, including the Regents, each and every one of you. Thank you. And while I served as interim chancellor, and I look forward to our continued work together. I also want to thank the many UM Dearborn colleagues who supported me and our entire leadership team during this year of significant transition. We always talk about what a strong community the University of Michigan Dearborn is, and that was really underscored this past year as many people stepped into new roles and took on new responsibilities without hesitation. I also want to thank my fellow EOs for supporting me this last year, for embracing me, and for really showing this spirit of collaboration. Thank you. I look forward to working with you and to many great things and collaborative efforts between all three of our campuses. Going back to my team, I really want to acknowledge Dr. Ghassan Cridley, who did not miss a beat when I asked him to serve as our interim provost, and Drs. Amran Zakarian, Joan Bransky, and Stein Brunbold. They all have done a wonderful job. Finally, I want to thank everybody in this room. I see many friendly faces, so thank you for your support throughout this many years. So thank you also for being here at our campus today. We are very happy to have you, and I'm pleased to share the following UM Dearborn's updates. Let's start with our students' medical and dental acceptance rates. UM Dearborn students had a 63% medical school acceptance rate for the 2025 cycle. This rate is significantly higher than the national average of 45% for MD programs and 42% for DO programs. We have remained consistently above the national acceptance rate for the last several years, and we're very proud of this. Our dental school admissions are equally remarkable, with a 67% acceptance rate from 2018 to 2024. This is thanks to the work, of course, of our students, our dedicated faculty, and our staff who support our students from admission to the entry in medical school. Our Environmental Interpretive Center celebrated its 25th anniversary earlier this month with a day and evening of family friends activities. The EIC and its surrounding preservation area, which dates back to the 1970s, are enduring examples of urban environmental stewardship and showcase U of M Dearborn's long-standing commitment to sustainability. I encourage you all to visit the center, walk the trails, or participate in the many excellent programs led by the EIC naturalists. Our College of Education, Health and Human Services, and our university administration offices have moved back into our permanent home, which is now known as the Daniel Little Building. We look forward to celebrating the building renaming on June 10th, and I hope that most of you, if not all of you, can make it to the big celebration. Hope to see you there. Finally, I want to acknowledge what a stellar year this has been for our women's ice hockey team. The team made it into the ACH semifinalists, the Frosty Four, and senior Cadence Perro was named ACH a Women's Division I Player of the Year. In total, 5 team members received national postseason honors. We're very proud of Coach Carrie Cirola and her entire team, and I'm very pleased some of them were able to join us today. I'd like to ask Coach Cirola, if she's here, Assistant Coach Natalie Vitus, and senior Kenna Borso and junior Stephanie Hatch to stand so we can recognize you. Yay! This team not only has very strong athletes, but a lot of the students have a 4.0, and so are very strong in the classrooms, outside the classroom. An amazing season and an amazing team. Congratulations, Dearborn Wolverines, and that is all. Go Blue and go Dearborn.
Thank you, Chancellor Scarlatta, and it's delightful to see that the athletic and academic prowess of the University of Michigan extends beyond the Ann Arbor campus alone. And soon it will be in the Flint campus as they develop their athletic programs. Now I'll turn it over to Chancellor Alexander, who will bring us news from Flint.
Thank you, President Grasso. I would like to begin by also congratulating Chancellor Scarlatta on your appointment as Chancellor, and we look forward to our continued collaboration with our campus. I'd also like to thank Chancellor Scarlatta and the entire U of M Dearborn team for their warm hospitality in hosting this board meeting. I'm pleased to report that several U of M Flint graduate programs in health sciences and other disciplines were included in the latest U.S. News & World Report rankings, highlighting the university's continued strength in high-demand fields. Nurse anesthesia, physical therapy, and occupational therapy were among the programs recognized, reinforcing U of M Flint's growing reputation as a regional powerhouse for career-focused healthcare education. U of M Flint partnered with the Flint Ingenuity Group in the city of Flint to celebrate Trey McKinney, a Flint native and member of the Michigan men's basketball NCAA championship team. The May 14th Trey Day event recognized McKinney's achievements and highlighted Flint's legacy of producing elite basketball talent. The hometown celebration, tied to Flint identity, youth inspiration, and civic pride, brought together local leaders and community members and university representatives, with Flint Mayor Sheldon Neely presenting McKinney with the key to the city. Coverage consistently praised the atmosphere, the turnout, and the symbolism of honoring a Flint native who reached the national stage with the Michigan Wolverines men's basketball team. I'd like to extend my thanks to President Grasso and Athletic Director Ward Manuel for supporting the event, and thanks to the coaches and other personnel who traveled to Flint to take part in the celebration. U of M Flint hosted its 5th annual Officer Friendly Day on May 9th, bringing together autistic youth, families, and law enforcement for engagement and relationship building in an inclusive environment. The event featured interactive activities, virtual reality experiences, and the Department of Public Safety's Mobile Community Engagement RV. Officer Friendly Day is one part of the university's broader commitment to community-centered public safety and inclusive engagement, supporting stronger relationships with the communities we serve. And finally, following a strong finish last year, U of M Flint's Moot Court program has once again received national recognition from the American Moot Court Association, ranking 20th overall and 15th in brief writing. Our one team's respondent brief also placed 12th nationally among more than 350 submissions. The achievement is notable for a program established only 6 years ago that has steadily advanced in national rankings. The program's success demonstrates U of M Flint's commitment to applied, skills-based learning, particularly in legal reasoning, writing, and oral advocacy, preparing students for success in law school, in related careers, and beyond. President Grasso, that concludes our Flint campus report. Go Flint and go Blue.
Thank you, Chancellor Alexander, and congratulations to you on all the successes at U of M of Flint. Now moving on to personnel actions, Provost Macaulay would like to make a comment.
Thank you, President Grasso. I would like to recognize the appointment of a new leader, Minyan Liu, most recently serving as Associate Dean for Academic Affairs in the University of Michigan College of Engineering and as the T.C. Chang Professor of Engineering. Professor Liu has been appointed as the Robert J. Vlasic Dean of Engineering effective May 15th, 2026 through July 31st, 2029. Dean Liu is a professor of electrical engineering and computer science and an internationally recognized researcher in her fields. She has held major leadership roles across the College of Engineering, including Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, which she held until this appointment. Her expertise spans optimal resource allocation, game theory, sequential decision theory, incentive design, and performance modeling and analysis. In recent years, Professor Liu's work has increasingly focused on cybersecurity, combining large-scale internet measurement data with machine learning to quantify cyber risk and applying game and contract theory to develop incentive mechanisms that encourage stronger security behavior in complex, multi-stakeholder environments. She also co-founded Quadmetrics Incorporated, which commercialized U of M developed technology for predictive cybersecurity analytics. Dean Liu joined the faculty here in 2000. She earned her PhD in electrical and computer engineering and master's in systems engineering from the University of Maryland, College Park, after completing her BS in electrical engineering at Nanjing University of Aeronautics and Astronautics in China. Dean Liu is a recipient of the National Science Foundation Career Award and multiple University of Michigan honors, including the Elizabeth C. Crosby Research Award and the Distinguished University Innovator Award. She's a fellow of the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers and a member of the Association for Computing Machinery. We're excited about the future of the College of Engineering under her leadership. Thank you.
Provost Macaulay. There are a number of retirement memoirs this month, and Provost Macaulay also has some comments regarding these.
Thank you, President Grasso. I would like to recognize the contributions of Professor Ann Curzan as she concludes her remarkable tenure at the University of Michigan. Ann brought to the College of Literature, Science, and the Arts a scholar's understanding of language and a true leader's clarity about what it takes to sustain a large academic community. Serving as dean from 2019 to 2024, she led LSA through a period of abundant contributions to the broader campus community, as well as significant challenges to teaching and campus life. Her tenure was distinguished by a clear and steady focus on students and faculty, innovation, and fresh thinking. LSA created a number of pilot programs and initiatives that were later expanded into university-wide counterparts. Professor Curzan joined the Michigan faculty in 2002 and was promoted to professor in 2012. Her scholarship focused on the history of the English language and language change and has shaped conversations in her field about usage, authority, and how language evolves over time. Her contributions to teaching have been recognized with the Henry Russell Award, the John Dewey Award, an Arthur F. Thurnau Professorship, and a Faculty Recognition Award. Before serving as dean, she held key academic leadership roles, including Associate Dean for the Humanities, and she contributed to writing and undergraduate initiatives that reach across the university. She's also extended the reach of linguistic scholarship far beyond the university as a notable public intellectual through her That's What They Say segment on Michigan Public Radio and a number of books on linguistics. On behalf of the university, I want to thank Professor Curzan for her leadership, her scholarship, and her enduring contributions to this institution. For her distinguished service to the University of Michigan, she's recommended for the titles of Dean Emerita, College of Literature, Science, and the Arts, Geneva Smitherman Collegiate Professor Emerita of English Language and Literature, Linguistics, and Education, Arthur F. Thurnau Professor Emerita, Professor Emerita of English Language and Literature, Professor Emerita of Linguistics, and Professor Emerita of Education. Congratulations, Dean Emerita Curzan. I would also like to recognize the contributions of another legendary academic leader as he concludes his tenure at the university, Terry McDonald, Arthur F. Thurnau Professor and Professor of History in the College of Literature, Science, and the Arts. Professor McDonald joined the faculty as an assistant professor in 1980 after receiving his doctorate in history from Stanford. His career has included award-winning research and teaching at all levels, and his record of administrative service to the university places him firmly among the major figures in our institution's history. Terry served as the Dean of LS&A from 2002 until 2013, when he became the director of the Bentley Historical Library, serving as the university's chief steward of our own history. Although his deanship coincided with deep recessions in Michigan and the nation, by the end of his term, he had expanded the tenure-track faculty and raised $400 million from donors, funding endowed chairs, new research centers and institutes, and an increase in the number of undergraduate scholarships sixfold. At the Bentley, he provided leadership in both administration and fundraising for projects including the digitization of the Michigan Daily, the opening of the African American Student Project website, and the addition of the Detroit Observatory that provided both better access and additional teaching space to this monument to the university's research leadership. Terry's contributions as a scholar have been world-class. He's authored or edited 5 books on the history of the American city. His honors include being named a Guggenheim Fellow, a Fellow of the Michigan Humanities Institute, and a Senior Fellow in the Michigan Society of Fellows. He has received most of the undergraduate teaching awards that we confer at the university, including an Arthur F. Thurnau Professorship. On behalf of the university, it's my pleasure to thank Terry McDonald for making the University of Michigan his academic home for more than 4 decades. His intellect, wisdom, and stalwart leadership have been incredible assets for more than a generation. In light of his myriad contributions to the university over 46 years, Terrence J. McDonald is recommended for the titles of Dean Emeritus of the College of Literature, Science, and the Arts, Arthur F. Thurnau Professor Emeritus, and Professor Emeritus of History in the College of Literature, Science, and the Arts. Congratulations, Dean Emeritus McDonald. Thank you, President Grasso.
Thank you, Provost Macaulay. I'd now like to turn it over to EVP Dr. Miller, who also has some comments.
Thank you, President Grasso. Today I want to recognize and celebrate the extraordinary career and lasting legacy of John T. Way, Professor of Urology in the medical school, whose contributions to research, patient care, education, and mentorship have helped shape the field of urology not only here at Michigan Medicine, but nationally and internationally. John has been a true pioneer in advancing how we measure and understand patient-reported outcomes and quality of life in urology. His development of the Expanded Prostate Cancer Index Composite, or EPIC, was especially transformative. EPIC has become the international gold standard for assessing patient outcomes following prostate cancer treatment and continues to be used around the world in multiple languages. Dr. Way's legacy at Michigan will endure not only through his research and clinical contributions, but through the generations of learners, faculty, and physician scientists, including me, who he has helped mentor and inspire throughout his career. On behalf of Michigan Medicine and the Department of Urology, we extend our deepest gratitude to Dr. Way for his extraordinary leadership, service, mentorship, and contributions to medicine. We congratulate him on an exceptional career and wish him and his family all the very best in retirement. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. I'd now like to turn to VP Tim Lynch for comments.
Thank you so much, President Grasso. I'd like to briefly note and congratulate Ellen Rowe, the Arthur F. Thurnow Professor and Professor of Music in the School of Music, Theater, and Dance, former chair of that department, the conductor of the #1 big band at the School of Music, Theater, and Dance, also an incredible composer and musician known throughout the area, particularly for her performances on the Art of the Trio at the Carytown Concert House, but also especially not just for bringing music into the world, but for the hundreds and hundreds of students she helped mentor and bring this wonderful music to our world.
Thank you, Vice President Lynch. This concludes the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve? All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Moving to finance and property. We can take items 1 and 2 together, the first being on commercial paper and the second on general revenue bonds. EVP Hewlett.
Nothing to add, Mr. President.
Is there a motion to approve? Second. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Next is Lorch Hall renovation. I'm sorry. The next is the Concordia property, 4090 Geddes Road in Ann Arbor. EVP Hewlett.
Nothing to add, Mr. President.
Okay. Regent Brown has a comment.
Yeah, I just wanted to say a few things. I'm very excited for the university to acquire this property. It's something I live in the community, so it affects me in more ways than one. And there's a lot of community conversations about it. I'd like to point out a few things that I think are really important. Number one, Concordia reached out to us and expressed their interest and maybe requirement to sell it to another institute of education. And that was a reality that we were happy to take advantage of. The second, the notion of that's been spoken about in the community that we don't yet have specific purposes for the entire property. I'd like to point out that, as some very smart regents often say, we are really, our job is to protect the future from the present, and that includes thinking proactively and in the long term. We're an institution that thinks in centuries. I'll point out that in 1880, obviously almost more than a half century after our founding, we bought the property that became our second hospital, the first one off Central Campus, and didn't build there until about 11 years after. In 1919, we bought the property that now contains the bulk of our existing hospital and didn't build there until about 1925. North Campus was purchased, the bulk of it, in 1949 with in the real earnest construction didn't begin until the 60s. So while it may be true in the long term, we don't know what we will put on that property. We do know that we're an institution that is here to do the public good, and that often changes. North Campus, for instance, we just put amazing robotics building there, and I'm sure in 1949 we had no idea that would be a necessity half century later. Also, I'm excited in the short term for what we can do with this property. Mainly, I've already been in touch with some of the local schools and sports teams in the areas that need additional facilities, and we would love and look forward to making it available to them. Preserving the historic house and the chapel on the property, and providing a park and river access along the Huron River. So I think it's a very exciting development for the city that will allow access and preserve access for hopefully centuries to come, and will allow growth and allow this university to continue to do the public good for years and years to come.
Thank you for your enthusiastic support, Regent Brown. Is there a motion to approve? Oh, we already approved? Oh, okay. So then next is Lorch Hall. Call the vote. Okay. So all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, now it passes. The next item is Lorch Hall renovation, EVP Hewlett.
Nothing to add, Mr. President.
Is there a motion to approve? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, that passes. The next items 5 through 8 can be taken together. Men's gymnastics, the Marguerite Wolfson Endowment, Michigan Stadium fireworks, and the Sparrow sale of ownership interest in Woodlands of DeWitt. EVP Hewlett.
Nothing to add, Mr. President.
Motion to approve? Okay, second. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. Conflicts of interest items 9 through 30 were approved earlier in the meeting. The first, okay, Vice President Lupia has item 3, resolution delegating duties and responsibilities. Vice President Lupia.
Nothing to add, Mr. President.
Is there a motion to approve? Second. Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Provost McCauley has items 4 and 5, undergraduate degree program in a School of Social Work, and approval of the campus calendar for the academic calendar for Ann Arbor. Provost McCauley?
Nothing to add, Mr. President.
Okay, is there a motion to approve? All, a second, okay, all in favor? Okay. Next, we have a student government report from the Dearborn Student Government President, Rupinder Singh.
President Grasso, members of Board of Regents, and the executive officers of the university. It's my honor to speak to you as the student government president on behalf of the administration of University of Michigan Dearborn Student Government. We first wish to acknowledge the difficult news regarding Kent Severud, who was expected to assume presidency of University of Michigan, but is unable to do following his diagnosis. We are deeply saddened by this news and extend our sincere thoughts and support to him and his loved ones. At the same time, we continue to believe President Grasso is an excellent leader for the university, and we are grateful for stability, care, leadership he continues to provide during this important transition. Student government also extends its sincere congratulations to Chancellor Gabriella Scarletta on her appointment as the next Chancellor of the University of Michigan Dearborn. Chancellor Scarletta has long served this campus, and we look forward to working with her in the upcoming term. We hope this new chapter brings a renewed focus on student engagement, transparent communication, and a strong partnership between campus leadership and elected student representatives. This year, UM Dearborn Student Government was proud to host Michigan Student Government Conference here in Dearborn. The conference brought together student leaders from universities across Michigan to discuss shared student concerns and opportunity for statewide advocacy. From these conversations, student government began organizing into a broader association focusing on representing student needs beyond individual campuses. 6 universities have already agreed to participate in this structure, and conversations are continuing with additional public universities across Michigan. UM Dearborn Student Government was proud to help lead this effort. This work reflects our belief that students are strongest when they're organized, informed, and able to advocate together on issues that affect higher education across the state. With this, we are also meeting this Saturday with all student government presidents across Michigan in Detroit to discuss how this association will look moving forward. Student government also wishes to reflect on student representation before the Board of Regents. The annual Dearborn Regents meeting is one of the few direct opportunities for UM Dearborn student government to speak to Board of Regents about student experience, the work completed during the year, and the concerns students continue to raise. Dearborn student government requests it should be given the opportunity to speak at all Regents meetings Student government reports should also be submitted directly to Board of Regents without intermediate approval barriers, so elected student voice can be shared clearly, independently, and without unnecessary filtering. Student government also wishes to raise concern regarding student representation in leadership search processes. A student did serve on the Chancellor Search Committee, and we appreciate that student involvement was included. However, the concern is that student representative was not connected to student government and did not serve as the elected representative of the student body. An individual student perspective is valuable, but it is different from elected student government representation. The student government president is chosen by the students to gather concerns, represent student priorities, and advocate on behalf of the student body in institutional spaces. Those responsibilities carry a different mandate. Student government was invited to participate in a listening session during the process, and that opportunity was appreciated. But a listening session is not same as formal representation within the committee process. Looking forward, student government hopes to see a clear, more consistent respect for elected student representation in major university matters. Our concern is not about questioning the qualifications or value of any individual student who participated in these processes. It is about making sure that elected voice of the student body is included when decisions are made that shape the future of this campus. Student government values collaboration with administration, but that collaboration is strongest when students can speak honestly and independently. To conclude, student government remains dedicated to creating a supportive, vibrant campus culture. We look forward to building on these achievements and working tirelessly to meet the needs of the Wolverine community. Go Blue, go Dearborn. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, President Singh. And finally, I will turn it over to Vice President Kinsey, who will take us through the public comments.
Thank you, President Grasso. We are now moving to the public speaker section of the meeting, and as part of their regular meeting agenda, the Regents set aside time for individuals to present comments to the board. All public board meetings are formal events convened under Article 8, Section 4 of the Michigan Constitution, and in keeping with reasonable and appropriate norms of decorum, all attendees, including speakers, should treat others with respect and civility. Individuals who are approved to speak will be expected to speak to the topic that was submitted during the registration, and all speakers will receive 2 minutes to speak unless otherwise noted. Speakers who do not adhere to these rules may be precluded from speaking and addressing to the board at future meetings. With that, I'd like to welcome our first speaker, Kieran Hayden. Welcome, Kieran. You have 2 minutes to speak when you're ready.
Hello. Before I begin, I'd like to extend my extreme appreciation for allowing me to speak today. I'd like to ask everyone in this room to send love, strength, and prayer to the people sitting up here tonight. To the people sitting here, you have a weight of these decisions on your shoulders. My name is Corinne. I'm a local AP Biology and Environmental Science teacher turned real estate broker. And when my business partner asked where we should open a real estate office in Washtenaw County, we of course chose the iconic Westgate Shopping Center because we love the city, the people, and I love this brand, Go Blue. I'm not here to tarnish it. I'm hopefully here to strengthen it. I wrote a book called The Gray, the book AI would never write about itself. It's about AI infrastructure and what communities can do when things move too fast. I have 3 concerns. 1, with the Los Alamos project, are we making this a military base? Putting a military base on civilian land with no military infrastructure within 0.03 miles of an elementary school, 0.01 miles from 200 residents at Shorebridge Towers, and 0.1 miles from our Huron River, and next to the lakes where EMU and U of M row. Did anyone ask the rowing teams? Because nothing says go fight win like rowing past a data center focused on nuclear weapons research. Number 2, where does the water go? Evaporative cooling means a droplet leaves the Huron River or our aquifer. It leaves into the atmosphere and the jet stream takes it, possibly straight to Canada, for free. As we know, our current administration does not like giving anything away for free. We tax the water embedded in every bushel of corn, and every pound of beef we export. We call it a virtual water tax. But atmospheric evaporation from an industrial facility, zero tax, nothing. We are literally making it rain in Canada with our precious Michigan resource. Is that me? Am I done? Thank you so much. I hope that you decide to possibly move this project to a new location. I do not believe that it belongs in Ypsilanti Township.
Thank you. I'd like to now welcome our next speaker, Sarah Soderstrom. Hi, Sarah. Welcome. You have 2 minutes to speak when you're ready.
Thank you. My name is Sarah Soderstrom. I currently serve as Director of Program in the Environment, or PITE. I'm a member of Voices for Carbon Neutrality and am an alum. I want to begin by thanking you for your positive vote today on my promotion to full professor. It is hard to imagine a more meaningful achievement, and I am deeply grateful. We are at a moment when student interest in sustainability and environment is both significant and growing. PITE now has roughly 300 majors and 300 minors. Students from every undergraduate school and college take our courses, and our enrollments have grown nearly 20% in the past 4 years. My research focuses on how people inside organizations lead change in ways that help make their organizations adapt and address potential societal challenges. And across our campus, I see our students doing exactly that. They are not only learning about sustainability, they are working from within to make Michigan better. For example, a student paper on sport and sustainability grew into multiple curricular and co-curricular student projects, ultimately helping launch the inaugural Michigan Student Athlete Sustainability Summit this spring. We see similar threads across campus: the campus farm, Michigan dining, student life, athletics, everywhere. We continue to develop opportunities for our students to engage with campus as a lab, connecting their courses to real challenges, collaborating with campus partners, and co-creating a better Michigan. PITE is not alone. Across sustainability efforts at U of M, we're integrating the Look to Michigan pillars of life-changing education with energy, sustainability, climate, and environmental equity. And as we move towards Campus 2050, investments in campus operations, in buildings, energy use, battery storage, and other sustainability goals do more than reduce our footprint. They connect our campus as a lab approach to the physical infrastructure of the university, creating opportunities for us to serve as a demonstration site for energy transition and resilience. I want to thank you for your support and appreciate your continued commitment to catalyzing our students' development into the leaders and best for a more sustainable future. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to now welcome our next speaker, Liz Rowan. Hi, Liz. Welcome.
Hi.
You have 2 minutes to speak when you're ready.
Hi. So I try to distill 2 minutes with some primary examples. Hi. So I'm a writing studies scholar, a longtime Dearborn faculty member, an alumnus of Ann Arbor's campus, and the outgoing Dearborn Faculty Senate Chair, here to share some stats and stories. Our campus has the highest Pell Grant rate by 7% of any comparable Michigan institution, while in the middle of the pack with its graduation rate. A badge of honor, because typically colleges with many Pell Grant students have low graduation rates. At the same time, besides Flint, our campus gets the least money per pupil of any college from the state. The state spends almost a third more on average per college student than it does on Dearborn and Flint students. U of M's regional students have been neglected by this budget model. Dearborn's campus is meanwhile rated by U.S. News and World Report as number 3 in the country for enabling economic mobility. Our campus literally embodies the American dream. As Dearborn student commencement speaker recently represented our campus ethos so beautifully a few weeks ago, and I'll quote, "This is a campus shaped by families who rebuilt their lives more than once. Families who cross countries, learn new systems, work long hours, and treated education like something fragile, something earned," unquote. Our students regularly share their experiences of rebuilding lives, working hard, and developing resilience in their writing classes. Nevertheless, administrators cut resources for writing instruction in Dearborn. 10 years ago, against advice of reviewers, Dearborn's writing program and the Faculty Writing Center director was eliminated, which didn't happen in Flint. More recently, administrators raised course caps in Dearborn's writing courses to 25 to 30, even though writing instruction can make money for the institution. Comparable writing courses are capped at 18 students in Ann Arbor, as its students also benefit from a sprawling, resource-rich writing center. Dearborn students are inspiring beyond the measures I share today and deserve much better. Let's authentically embrace one another, no matter what campus, with real resources to show that. I think it's time. Thanks.
Thank you, Liz. Rebecca Najarian, welcome. You're our next speaker. You have 5 minutes to speak when you're ready.
Thank you for the opportunity to address this board. I ask that you look at me while I speak and look at the parents standing behind me. We are fierce supporters of our transgender children, family members, and friends. My family has entrusted Michigan Medicine for decades of care, including annual checkups, colds and flus, dermatology screenings, gynecology care, gallbladder removal, kidney stone removal, chronic pain care, obstetrics, including giving birth to all 3 of my kids at Michigan Medicine, as well as care and treatment for 3 miscarriages. When I lost a baby at 10 weeks, when I lost a baby at 18 weeks, and when I was treated for an ectopic pregnancy where I almost bled to death. Michigan Medicine was there for my family as we grew and changed. Well child visits, vaccinations, ingrown toenails, speech therapy, physical therapy, several jaw surgeries, and endometriosis care. And when we desperately needed immediate life-saving care, we turned to Michigan Medicine for psychiatric inpatient care, followed by gender-affirming care. Yes, life-saving care. This is what Michigan Medicine has provided for our family. Now we all are faced with the bullying and extortion tactics of the Trump administration. They are demanding our children's health records and threatening to withhold funding and to prosecute our doctors. Last year, without a fight, Michigan Medicine halted gender-affirming care for transgender youth. Let me remind you, gender-affirming care is legal in the state of Michigan, best practice in medicine, and supported by science. The Trump administration used our transgender children as a campaign strategy. They used our society's limited knowledge and familiarity with transgender people and created a narrative of fear to gain supporters. They used our children as a political tool. We know what the Trump administration thinks about transgender people. They made it clear during the campaign and in the executive orders. They clearly stated their goals for the treatment of transgender people, which are to eliminate life-saving, gender-affirming care, restrict their access to everyday rights, like safely using the bathroom, or to present accurate and safe identification to drive, work, travel, and vote. They aim to eliminate their visible existence in our society. One measure the administration is using to accomplish these goals is to bully and extort hospitals. So far, they have been successful with Michigan Medicine. By caving to their demands without a fight, you are allowing them to further use our children as a political tool, and you are complicit in the further harm of transgender children. You are helping them do their job. Just like bullies on a playground, they will not stop unless someone stands up to them. They only survive if you comply. What groups will the administration go after next? Women who have received abortion health care? If they knock on Michigan Medicine's door for those patients' records, will you open the door and hand over their names and health records? Will you stop offering abortion care if threatened and pressured? If you cave to this administration's political pressures, you are denying legal rights to health care. You are going against best practices in medicine, and you are denying the science. Can you imagine that? The University of Michigan choosing to deny best practice and science. Michigan's response to this political pressure sets an example to other universities and hospitals. The University of Michigan is supposed to be the leaders and the best. So how are you going to respond? History is unfolding right now. How will you continue, or how will you contribute to this time in history? How will you protect the reputation of this institution? How will you protect our children?
I'm asking you to fight with us, to protect our children's medical records, to protect our doctors and care providers, to reinstate gender-affirming care to transgender youth. You have our support to be the leaders and the best. Our children are amazing human beings with hopes and dreams for what awaits them throughout their beautiful lives. We fight for our kids every day, and we ask that you have the courage and fight with us. Thank you.
To thank you for your words and thank everyone here to support her. You and your kids are my heroes. Thank you for all of the letters you wrote. I got them to all of the regents, and trans care is health care. Thank you.
I'd like to now welcome our next speaker, Wasi Rahman. Hi, Wasi. Welcome. You have 2 minutes to speak when you're ready.
U of M Dearborn prides itself as being a welcoming, inclusive, and close-knit community. In this spirit, I am issuing a challenge. When you are on campus, passing by others, look up from the sidewalk or your phone. Look at each other in the eye and smile or nod. Say hello to someone you don't know, and maybe even ask them how they're doing. This small gesture can go a long way to making people feel welcomed and back home. Good afternoon, Board of Regents, University administrators, and the public. My name is Wasi Rahman, a proud 2024 U of M Dearborn graduate. The statement I orated was from our very own President Grasso, then Chancellor Grasso, in my first semester of undergrad in fall of 2021 after choosing Dearborn over Ann Arbor. In a statement, President Grasso captures exactly what my experience and the experience of so many students who have come before and after have felt here at U of M Dearborn. A home. From faculty to staff to administrators to students, anyone who has had the privilege of belonging to our campus and to the spaces where we worked, prayed, and played together knows there is truly no institution on earth quite like it. I speak here today to celebrate a success story that can only happen in a place like U of M Dearborn, where our former chancellor, now leading arguably the #1 public university in the nation, appoints his successor, our very own former provost, Dr. Scarlatta, as the 7th chancellor of U of M Dearborn at U of M Dearborn. In addition to extending my congratulations, I would like to share with the broader community the level of impact this campus has had on myself and thousands of other peers who are now leading physician leaders, state legislators, and business titans. At U of M Dearborn, we were fortunate to learn through the purest form of pedagogy, to be treated as an academic equal by our faculty and as a trusted peer by administrators who believed in us. I'm going to cut to the end of this because this is a little bit of a long passage. So Chancellor Scarlatta, on behalf of our vast alumni, as you embark on this journey of leading this institution, I hope you know that we intend to do our best to support you and to help you be best our chancellor in these upcoming years and during your time of service. Again, congratulations, go blue, and go Dearborn.
Thank you. I'll call upon now our final speaker, Herman Gonzalez. Welcome, and you have 2 minutes to speak when you're ready.
Hola, my name is Herman Gonzalez, and I don't have any official or organizational ties. I'm just an alum who's from the local area, and I honestly don't really want to be here today, but I feel like I had to say something. I wanted to start off with defending Professor Peterson. I am proud of the U of M History Department and AMCO and African Studies because they've been pretty consistent about their values and stuff. But the thing is, it's been treated like a vile scandal and all that. And I feel like there's been too many scandals that been overshadowing U of M, unfortunately. Like if you Google it, you're just gonna see like a bunch of things in here. And like I was gonna address the elephant in the room, but the elephant's not in the room, but they're here in spirit. Because the thing is, I've been thinking a lot recently about like how years from now, kids are gonna ask like, "What did you do during these times?" And I'm not a good person, honestly, but I'm still capable of good acts, and so is everyone in this room too, even if it's just one or two things. And that's why I want to gently remind the Regents, and you can pass it on to someone else who's not here too, that you can resign too. It's a gentle option that I feel like is fair as well. You can do whatever you want. You can go back to your families or like do your regular jobs or anything like that. And if you would just want to ignore the cause for resignation, I just want to say that beliefs don't really mean too much. It's more like your actions and impact that matter. And I'll be here for a little bit if you have any questions or concerns, but thank you for your time, guys.
Thank you. Mr. President, this concludes the public speakers.
Thank you, Vice President Kinsey. The meeting is adjourned.